Gallagher, you look
I
like
am an executive.
you almost look like a Wall Street guy now.
I am. I trade stocks all day long. I know as much as all of them combined.
I used to see you on TV. You wore a cap and you wore jeans. You were very
Cappy Genie kind
Cappy
of
Genie.
French.
And nobody would have thought you were an investor looking at that up.
Yeah, you've really classed yourself up.
Well, Jim Cramer copies me.
Is that right?
Sure, he says he's the Gallagher of stocks, and he smashes food. He says when one stock in a segment moves, then the other stocks are going to catch up. So he whacked a bottle of ketchup with a bat.
Well, let me tell you,
Everyone rips you off.
That's right. Does Carrot Top rip you off in a sense? I mean, with the props, and then I think he even smashes a watermelon.
We had the same manager.
You're kidding. Did
He
you ever
used to came to my show when I was down in Fort Lauderdale. I knew him when he was a teenager. I didn't know he wanted to be me. I just knew he wanted to be a comedian.
Did it make you angry? Did you ever say to your manager, "Look, the guy steals my act. What is this? Why are you?"
No, he was going at a different audience. He was going for dumb people, teens. Silly, like the Conan O'Brien type of rattling laughter. I can never figure out what is funny about Conan. I mean, it's just
Conan O'Brien. You don't feel he's funny?
No,
not at all.
Terrible. Do you laugh? I don't laugh.
Will he let you on the show? Is this a little problem with getting access to the show?
Well, I don't think I'd want to be on his show because it's kind of teeny. It seems like it's painful if it's quiet.
Who do you like of the late night host? Do you feel Leno is a funny guy?
I don't think he knows how to do a monologue like Johnny. You don't walk out and say, well, what was in the paper? You wouldn't walk up to a person and say that, and an audience is just a person. So Johnny'd come out and he'd say, you sound like you're in a good mood tonight. What about this weather? It was sure hot today. Or, he'd talk to you like you were a person. He'd set himself in the space.
Well, Jay Leno is talking to you the way he talks to people.
Yeah,
you can't walk up to somebody and say, what I saw in the paper today.
Did you happen to read this in the paper?
And it's always the same style of joke. It's, here is the facts, and this is the consequence. This is the fact, and this is the consequence. I don't think he's ever written a joke, and I think he hires joke writers and teaches them to do it like he did. I remember when he was working for Jimmy... I can't remember his last name.
Walker.
Jimmy
Walker.
Letterman.
Yeah.
Letterman walked.
No, they both did.
Did they both? Yeah. I didn't know that. So when you see a guy like Leno so successful, do you say, why didn't Gallagher get the Tonight Show?
I know exactly the whole story. I know how he got it, and it's they pick from among the people that are there in Hollywood,
right?
And that are working the store and the Improv, and he kind of. Told the agents, the network people, that Letterman was too edgy.
I see.
He undercut his buddy.
Was Leno a good stand-up comic, though?
No. His show doesn't have any dynamics. It's the same at the end as it is at the beginning, and that you get bored with that. What
about Letterman? Is he any better, or is he?
No, he wasn't a comedian at all. But I would see him.
Hold on a second. Didn't Letterman do stand-up comedy?
Yeah, I met him when we were both hiding from the Tonight Show comedians that would go to the hotel next to the Comedy Store. And if you worked the Comedy Store, they'd come over and get some jokes from you to use in the sit-down.
Right.
So we were working in Murray Langston's club in the Valley. He had bought this club with the Sonny and Cher.
The unknown comic.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he worked with a black guy, and they had an act together on the old Sonny and Cher show, and he bought this bar from these lesbians. And Dave would be there, me and Dave, and Junkman and the Carpenter, these two gay guys had an act, and they sang. And sometimes that was the whole evening, was me and Dave. And so when Dave came here and started throwing watermelons off of a building, I thought, of all the things, here we are hiding from other comics to steal our jokes, and he gets a show and steals from the only guy he was working with while we were hiding out.
So you and Letterman were good friends.
I don't think he's friendly with very many people. He liked George Miller, and the two of them used to watch Leave It to Beaver in an apartment across the street from the Comedy Store. I'd go over and see them in the daytime, and Dave just seemed to like Leave It to Beaver. He likes the everyday Midwestern. He almost kind of on his show says, we don't have a show, and isn't that funny? And no, it's not funny that you didn't produce a show. You're supposed to make a show.
In other words, the idea of going on TV, this is interesting what you're saying. The idea of going on TV and saying, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, I got a lame show tonight.
We don't have a budget. You don't have a budget.
You've got a budget. No one
He's
buys
got a
that.
budget, but he's got to use the people that are there, you know, the doorman. And Jimmy Kimmel does the same thing. Here's my cousin.
But Jimmy really doesn't have a budget.
No one's giving Jimmy a budget.
Here's my cousin. Here's my, you know, they're
Right.
using people that are there and making an excuse saying, well, this is the average person. And you can't really make an excuse for not having a prepared, established, written show.
I see.
Isn't that what people pay for? Why, you got to be an entertainer.
So when you were a younger man and Letterman was a guy, a contemporary hanging out at the Comedy Store, and why was he friends with this guy George Miller? You say, like, in other words, why was he not friends with you? Were you just too normal?
I just never saw him being really friendly with anybody except his agent, Debbie Miller from William Morris. And she'd stand in the back with me and she'd say, if I could get him on the talk shows, I could get him to be the host. But he doesn't have enough material for a spot. And isn't that nutty that
And he would sit all day and watch Leave
So
It to
you
Beaver?
think Letterman didn't have much of an act?
Oh, he only had frying bread in Crisco oil. Debbie used to say to me, we're still frying bread in Crisco oil. He'd make fun of that commercial where we've just fried this bread in Crisco oil to prove a point. And I don't, and he'd talk about that. And Jay didn't have very many jokes either. He kept bringing out a hatchet. He said he came across a guy in an alley with a hatchet, and that was his biggest, wildest joke, because he used to do a lot of mom material.
Right, yeah.
And,
I remember seeing him in Washington, D.C. in 1980. I thought he was a very good stand-up comedian, Jay Leno. Made me laugh a lot. He seemed like
Oh, you
don't
did
know-
laugh?
I did
don't
laugh
know
a
if
few
this
times.
is bitterness or a
What?
real evaluation.
Oh, I'm an authority on comedy. I think
mean,
I
he's
was
seen
a
them all.
comedian in another life. When I met Jim Stafford, I was a chemical engineer. And I, for some reason, knew what he wasn't doing as a comedian and what I could add to his act. And I worked for him for 5 years. We
Yeah.
got a summer show.
So
we had million-selling records. We had the first song about homosexuals that was on radio, My Girl Bill. The first song about drugs, Wildwood Weed. We had a 2 million seller, which was a big deal
Let me
back
ask you
then.
something, Gallagher. Leno sucks, Letterman sucks, Kimmel sucks.
No, I don't know.
No,
Jimmy's pretty funny.
No, Jimmy alike. Okay,
yeah,
good.
I
All
think.
right.
Well, you
Who's
said you laughed at Jay. I like Kevin. Kevin, who is the delivery guy. Kevin.
Kevin James?
Yeah. I'm 61. I can't.
Who's the worst stand-up of all time? Richard Pryor?
No, he was.
Oh, you liked him. All right. I
Oh,
think
thank
maybe you didn't like him.
goodness.
I just thought maybe you didn't like him. I don't
No,
know.
plus he was a friendly guy.
Right,
He'd
you liked
invite
him.
you over to his house,
And then he'd shoot you.
Did you ever do any coke with the guy? Or
Yeah,
you did.
You always would. If you go over to his house, he'd hold a court in his office and make sure you got some chicken. And there was always people that I've seen him pass out checks a lot.
Right.
Wow.
And he'd kind of hide it a little bit and then show them the amount real slow just to watch them be impressed. He was a very nice guy. He was friendly.
And you would do coke with him?
Well, he'd offer you Coke when you
Right.
went to his house on Sunday.
have the best Coke?
It was Sunday. Yeah.
Of course, he was a very wealthy man.
Yeah.
And who was going to give him bad coke?
Right. He's
Right,
Richard
and he
Pryor.
was funny. He was funny and a decent guy. You know, a lot of guys, they just they pretend. Like, see, I talk to all the stagehands, and so they tell me who you're not allowed to talk to. And
Who? What comedian aren't you allowed to talk to?
Jerry Seinfeld.
Is Jerry Seinfeld a good comedian?
No, he's terrible. He was the fourth best comedian on his own show. What if you had a show and you didn't even get the bronze medal? I mean, And
So
they
you say-
and that one guy, he wasn't really a good stand-up. He was a funny. I could have had
Kramer?
Yeah, Kramer. I could have had the Kramer part. I can come through a door with a lot of energy, and he was in that club, and he wasn't an experienced comedian, I think, and so he didn't understand that club is a black club, is the one that he went to. Jamie Masada's club there, the Laugh Factory, is blacks, and he got insecure and started using bad language. And
Kramer, yeah. Right.
And then he wasn't skilled.
But to say Seinfeld is not a good comedian, I've heard very few people say that. I mean, they say he's so proficient at getting up in front of these crowds and talking.
And telling his funny little observations. He's not working where I'm working. I just got back from Sandpoint, Idaho.
Go ahead.
And you don't go standing up in front of 50 people, or 500, I mean. That was how much it was the first sellout they've ever had in Sandpoint. And that's what I do. These guys can't do it.
They can't.
No,
They can't
do
sell
it.
out these.
They can't do a show to average people that you have to entertain moment after moment to their face.
Do you
it's
still
hard.
smash the watermelon, or you?
No, I didn't do it in Boise or Sandpoint, but I will be at the Blender Theater and
you will smash the
and
watermelon.
Lakewood in New Jersey. And then in the woods, there's a town named after that Indian, Jim Thorpe.
Yes.
Jim Thorpe, I'm going to.
What about a guy like Jim Carrey? I heard he was a tremendous stand-up. Is he?
No, you didn't hear that. He's terrible. He was
Terrible.
painful to watch because the things that you could do for a movie don't work on stage. We would stand in the back of the Comedy Store and just pain. It's just painful to see him do his little acts and his faces and his body movements.
Well, how about when he talks with his ass? He moves the cheeks.
Well,
back and forth.
would you do a movie based on a guy that's going to get in a tree and turn around and show his butt? I mean, where's the talent there? I don't understand Hollywood. Why you have to be a comedian to then get a serious role? They did it with Robin Williams. They do.
Is Robin Williams a good comedian?
No, he's a comic actor.
A comic actor, but
you
he's
have
not a
to-
good comedian. He can't
You
get
have to give him the jokes.
Okay, then
I see.
Billy Crystal. You got to say Billy Crystal's a good comedian.
Yes, because he writes.
Right. Now,
okay.
Robin Williams, they give him the jokes? In other words,
Well,
they,
he'll
right.
take them, or you can give
Right.
them to him.
Is he a stealer?
He'll take
Does he
'em.
steal jokes? Is that true?
Well,
I've never heard
it's-
that about him.
Heard it.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
his
I don't
only.
know.
I mean, that's what goes after his name, Robin Williams, comma, joke thief, comma. That,
You're saying it's on his resume, even.
well, to the other comics, everybody knows he can
Right.
take the part of your joke. I had a joke one time that I like to do at the beginning of my career about marijuana. I'd say, give your marijuana be good for old people. It makes the time go slow. Give your grandma a lid of Columbia and a ton of yarn. You get back an Afghan to cover the garage. Well, he saw me do that at the Ice House, and so then he did it on Dave's. Dave had a talk show out in L.A.
Right, Dave Letterman.
Yeah, and it didn't work. And I saw him do that joke on Letterman's show there.
Did you call up and say, hey,
Nah,
come on, what are you-
no.
it's not even worth fighting about.
When Andrew Dice Clay came to town, he was doing several of my jokes. I walked up to him.
Andrew Dice Clay.
Is he any good?
Well, he reminds me of Spitzer. It was these guys that threw their life away. I'm making a list of the Stanley Cup of like the Bill Clinton Award.
Yeah, who's on your list?
Well, you got to have Jimmy Swaggart and Jim Baker for throwing their life away, and Isaiah Thomas almost did.
Right.
And Mike Tyson, of course, had it going for him, and Andrew Dice had the world record for the most people to ever show up at a comedy.
and he threw it. How did he throw it away?
Well, he didn't. He wasn't a writer. He just
see.
had the little nursery rhymes. As
Did he
his
steal that
gimmick.
from you? Did you
No,
do-
no,
no.
no. He had that himself.
Right.
And the going whoa in the character. He could have built that into something. I don't know why.
It all went away.
He let it go away.
He did. He self-destructed, is what you're saying.
All of these, and I would say that it's men that do it, except I do have some chicks from here in New York. Amy that shot the
Amy Fisher.
Amy Fisher.
right,
threw
and
it
then
away.
the skater girl that had Nancy
Tanya
Carey
Harding.
and
Tanya
whack,
Harding.
and then this astronaut chick who got
I don't know her
fell in
name,
love
This is like a quiz.
I know.
and showed up, and then Mama Cass and Karen Carpenter also. When you think about it, I mean, just a dumb way to go by eating and not eating is pretty funny. I know Mama Cass should have given Karen Carpenter the sandwich. They'd both be alive today. But,
who is the most underrated comic? This Artie Lang? Do you know of him?
you know, I don't really know a lot of the comics
Right.
now because I'm traveling on the road and I don't use an opening act.
I see.
And so I don't. I watch them on TV when I can. But
Have you seen this Artie Lang?
So you know a lot of
The old guys.
established old guys. You
Yeah.
know, do you know any of the Saturday Night Live guys? We mentioned Billy Crystal. Do you know Chevy Chase? Do you know?
well, I had an argument with Chevy Chase on the Tonight Show. You remember?
I don't. What happened?
Well, I did my little smashing act there. When I sat down, Chevy says, "Well, does all your stuff have little props to it?" As if to say, "Is that the only way you can be funny?" And I says, "Well, you know, people like it, so you keep it in the act, and it's television, and you're supposed
Visual.
to."
It's
Yeah,
visual,
it should
yeah.
be visual. I was